using Ableton's grand piano, which comes with the sampler, because most people who have a copy of Ableton will also have the grand piano, and it's a very clean sound, which means it's fun to dirty up. If you enjoy this style of music, be sure to check out our Hip Hop in Motion course by David Heartbreak, which is coming out soon. And in the description box below, we'll have a link where you can download the full Ableton project file. So, I've got Ableton's grand piano loaded up, and I sketched out this little melody right here. Nothing super special, just a pretty typical hip-hop piano melody. But one thing you might be able to notice is that it has a very stilted sound to it. This is because every note is playing at the exact same velocity and the exact same volume. You can see that all of the velocity values are at 100. And because of this doesn't sound like an actual person is playing the piano. It sounds more like a virtual instrument, which is what it is. But we want this to sound like a real instrument with somebody playing the piano. We want to kind of fool people with that. There are two ways to accomplish this. One way would be to edit the velocity numbers manually by just clicking them and then dragging them. But the way that I prefer to do this, and the way that's more convenient, at least in my opinion, is to use the Velocity MIDI effect. So let's go over to our MIDI effects tab, click on Velocity, and then drag it to be before the grand piano or whatever instrument you're using. Now, the velocity settings all depend on what type of sound you're going for. If you want a sound with a lot of very harsh notes, like somebody's just pounding at the piano and really playing with a lot of intensity, you'll want a very high drive, and you would want to set the lowest range to be at a pretty high number so no low notes get in. But in my case, I'm going for more of a soft and muffled sound, so I'm going to take the drive and put it somewhere around minus 0.32. Now I'm going to take the high output range and I'll decrease that as well. You can already hear we're getting a pretty nice muffled sound. I think we'll go for 81. That sounds pretty nice. I'm going to take the compand, which is sort of like a little compressor, and nudge it up just a little bit. We'll go for 0.02. I'll take the output low and just put that all the way down at 0. And I'm going to take the input range and I'll set that to be at 81. Now, I prefer the sound we have going on here with the velocity, but we still have the problem with the notes all being played at the same velocity and the same volume. But to fix this, we're going to take the random knob and we're going to increase that so we have notes playing at random velocities. And because we tweaked the settings for the other knobs, we're going to have sort of a controlled randomness where the notes will play lower and they'll play higher, but they'll never get too high, and we're never going to have any super loud peaks.